ready, Maria?
I'm ready.
Okay, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I'll open the meeting then. 6:33 or thereabouts. Okay, we'll do our meeting minutes first from October the 13th. Have you read the meeting minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I have.
Okay, I'll make a motion then that we accept the meeting minutes of October 13th. Is there a second?
You know what, I just had two name spellings corrections.
Shoot.
Beth on page 2, 5C. Strauss is S-T-R-O-U-T-S.
Okay.
And then under financial administration, number 1, Ricky White should be Ricky Eckerd, E-C-K-A-R-D.
Okay.
And that's all I got.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the corrected meeting minutes of October 13th. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion on minutes? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we'll take a look at the manifest. Did everybody have a chance to look at the manifest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we accept the manifest list of expenditures and payroll for November the 5th. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, let's discuss this then.
That's a whopper of a payment to the county. How often do we have to make those?
Once a year.
That's what it was here.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. So, yeah, I was a little surprised that I didn't get some emails back on this. This is probably one of the largest manifests that I've ever seen.
Well, we just was ill luck that the school and the county were in the same month. And Cookie had let me know that calcium chloride bill was actually from June, but it got routed to a bunch of different addresses before it ended up in Dorchester.
Too bad. Maybe we should send our check through the same route, huh?
I mean, other than, if it wasn't for the school and the county, everything else is in the realm of,
Pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
28, only like $11,000, right?
yeah.
So, but, you know, I was surprised that I saw though that, did you guys look at the financial reports?
I did.
Okay, well, you didn't notice, the numbers on our financial report?
Well, are you talking about the budget versus the total rate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, for example, emergency management is minus 292, 292%, but we're getting that back.
Yeah, no, the big thing is, Maria, that Beth White charged the county tax bill to our municipal budget. She took $60,000 out of our budget.
Well, you know, I saw that she had that at the top, but I assumed that meant, I thought she was just putting that in a special category there.
Yeah, no, she took it out of the budget, so. So, our budget is, the budget that we got from her said that we had 15% of the year left and only 10% of our budget left. So if you take if you put the $60,000 back in the municipal budget, that takes it up to 25% or 24%.
But what category did she put that in? Oh, county taxes, yeah, she put that in the
Yeah, she created
its own thing.
She created a new line item there.
Right, I see that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, that went under my radar.
Yeah.
Huh.
So So I sent her an email, she hasn't responded yet, so we're not as bad as it looks. So, did I make the motion? I did make the motion to accept. Any more discussion on the manifest? No? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Nobody's opposed? Okay, we'll take the treasurer's report now. Madam Treasurer.
So that check, we are paying that 60,000, right?
Huh?
I'm sorry, I was late. So that discussion about that check, I mean, it's just affecting the way it's out of the budget. The check's still going out.
Yes, so,
Okay.
yes, so we still have to pay them.
Yeah, I just,
Oh, and I forgot to bring it. Son of a gun. You know what I found today? The two checks. A check for $1,000 and a check for $50,000.
well, that's good. Where'd you find them?
It was in a folder that Linda had given me that had a printout that I had asked Beth White
Well,
for.
that's a good thing. Yeah.
So I have it. I left them home.
Well, that's, yeah, just.
But I'll drop them off down the
Yeah.
office and you can pick them up.
The other thing I have is the cards from the bank for everybody to sign.
Cheryl, could you speak up, please? Sorry.
I have the cards from the bank because we have to switch the names over. But Steve, you have to go down because you have to go down there and sign. The rest of us that are on the accounts can just sign on the cards. But
Okay.
I've been running all day and
That's
I
okay.
just left
That's
them
okay.
at the
We
house.
thank you.
But anyway, I'll get with you later.
Okay. all right.
So, treasurer's report as of today, we had 106 total in all the accounts, $116,664.24. We had receipts of $18,745.17 and debts of $14,841.31. That leaves us a total of all the accounts at $120,568.10 as of today. And that's that.
Okay.
There's 107,000 in the operating account, which I obviously have to move a lot of that over to, in the money market, move that over to the operating account
Okay.
to cover this manifest, but it looks like the money's there, just don't have a lot of excess at this point after that bill.
Okay.
Okay.
I also noticed on the budget printout too, that under the line item for the tan, there was $50, there's $50 taken out on that line item. And I asked Linda to check with Beth and see where that came from.
Okay.
We haven't taken out it.
Not to my knowledge.
Right?
Not to my knowledge, but I will, yeah.
Yeah, well, you would be the one that would do that, so. If we were-
Right, I would have had to sign
Yeah.
a check for that, and that hasn't been, the only checks I sign are what's on the manifest, so.
Okay.
So I don't know what that
Try
is
to
about.
trace that down, see where that came from.
Okay.
Okay, anybody got any questions for Cheryl, or you all set?
Okay.
Good. Okay, we'll go to highways. And,
Cookie, do you know, besides the Thayer road sign, what other road signs have disappeared? Is he
There's
uses?
about a half a dozen of them, he's got a list of them.
Oh, yeah? Are they, is
Yes, we got cookies, so
There's 6 signs missing.
There's 6 signs. And is it a mixture of, you know, like speed limit signs and street signs?
Street signs, name signs,
So-
and then there's a mixture of slow signs, there was a speed limit sign, so there's a couple different ones. The town line sign, on River Road here for Groton.
Yeah.
Going into Groton, that whole pole and both Groton and Dorchester sign, town line signs are gone too.
Is the, does Dean have the feeling that these are being stolen for the scrap metal value?
He didn't mention that.
Okay.
But I know there's been some other spray painting of signs, like coming into Winter
So,
and so forth,
graffiti?
so there's been other vandalism around, but not to the extent
Yeah.
of stealing them,
Yeah.
just, you know, defacing them, which we had a couple that were defaced as well, but
I assume that this is happening at night, which is,
I mean, they're gone. 2 residents had reached out to me to tell them that their road signs were gone. And then when Groton was doing their culvert project, when they shut the road down, just after they finished that one, that's when the town line sign for both Groton and Dorchester disappeared.
Huh.
And that had recently been put in by us because it was taken down and laying down, so we had recently just put that in with a new pole.
I suppose other local towns are having the same problem?
They are.
Wow, okay, thanks.
Anything else you wanna discuss about highway?
I have a couple of little things. And I know they've been real busy getting the trucks ready for winter and the sand pile. I just wondered, if the close up on, the Blum property was still on the list. So I guess, and actually Simon, Sherman, you had brought up, the sign for the town office, is that on the list to be done somewhere?
It's on the list, yeah. Actually, I spoke with Dean today and I asked him about that. He's trying to come up with a logo that he wants to put on the trucks. You recall him talking about that?
Right, you look at the moose in the bar. Yeah.
So apparently he wants to put,
No, there was a moose head a mounted moose in a bar that you were.
Oh.
so apparently he wanted, he was waiting to try to put that logo on the sign.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I wonder if we want to get it up before the ground spreads.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So it's been about a year now, right? Almost a year. It got knocked down last winter.
The logo can always be added later.
It
right?
can,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I think we should get the sign up.
Okay. All right, I'll tell him to get the sign up. Put it up just the way it is.
I mean, he's using the trucks now without the logo, so.
Yeah. That's right, the trucks aren't sitting there, huh? They're moving because they don't have a logo. What else, Maria?
That's all I have. And then just, you know, the Blum property does end up getting shut up before winter.
You mean that door, right?
Well, there's a door and then
Some
the window on the
windows.
second floor was wide open.
Oh, it is?
Well, it was when I left.
Oh, okay, I didn't realize
And I know
that.
Dean was planning to put a piece of plywood there. So I just was hoping it was still on his list. I know they've been really busy with, you know, the truck stuff and the sand and all that.
Yeah,
And,
okay. I'll talk to him about that. Green property and District Commission, is that true?
That is,
Okay. I'll make the motion then that we appoint William Trott as the planning board's representative to the Historic District Commission. Is there a second?
in it,
Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And let's jump to, the speed limit on River Road. We have the chief's letter here. Nice letter he wrote, huh? Very nice. Do either of you remember what statute he cited that gave us the authority to change speed limits on town roads?
yeah, it was, 4111. And, that is qualified, this is the guy down in Concord from the Bureau of Traffic Control.
Mm-hmm.
That's qualified by RSA 265-63,
265-63?
full 63. Which is, says that local authorities have the power on the basis of an engineering or traffic investigation. But he said that for purposes of a town to change the speed limit on one of its roads, that engineering or traffic investigation has never been defined. And I said, well, does the chief's letter qualify? And he said, in his mind it would, but he said the definition of that has never been decided by a court. He said no town has ever been sued for lowering the speed limit. And he said, as opposed to if we were to ask the state to lower the speed limit on their section of River Road, there are very specified crash and traffic studies that have to be performed. So, Bill Lambert from the Bureau of Traffic Control was of the opinion it was no problem, and given the chief's letter, we were covered. But he did say that it had been, as I've already said, it's never been exactly defined by court of law.
Okay. I assume 4111 must be the statute that gives the select board the authority to manage and regulate town roads.
That's right, yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I'll make a motion then. Yeah, that the Board of Selectmen, by the authority granted in RSA 4111, hereby changes the speed limit on that portion of the River Road which the town of Dorchester maintains, from 35 miles an hour to 25 miles an hour. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay, any more discussion on that?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, do you have that motion?
I do.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous. The speed limit has changed. You want to order some speed limit signs now, or what? How do you want to do about that? How do we let people know what the speed limit is?
Well, I assume we'll ask Highway to order the signs and hopefully put them up before the ground freezes. I don't know, I don't know what the turnaround is on signs.
I can call and find out tomorrow morning. Goes through the state prison.
Yep.
Are the 35 mile an hour our signs on posts or mounted on trees?
Now post.
They're on posts, so we could just
We
take.
can't touch the signs on the state portion,
Right.
so the only concern is you're gonna have to advise people that on that section of River Road, they have to reduce the speed down to 25. You see what I'm saying?
No,
Okay, could you come up front, cause I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
All we were saying is the speed limit sign is 35 now posted on the state portion in 2 spots. So to reduce the speed down to 25, at some point you're going to have to tell that driver reduce speed ahead or, you know, all of that. So how,
that's
that's the state portion, and we're not allowed to put signs up on the state portion not without the traffic bureau coming up and doing.
even a sign that would.
Is there a reduced speed sign ahead as you go from Dorchester to Groton?
No.
It's just,
No, but there again, the state might require you to do that, I don't know. That's another thing, we don't know.
I talked to this guy down at the Bureau of Traffic Control, he put up no roadblocks whatsoever.
Okay.
Well, he didn't mention any of that, you know, on Dorchester's section, we can lower it and post it as we see fit. That's what he told me.
It was just a question that
I
we
think.
had in regards to giving
Right.
a warning.
I think it would be a safety courtesy to drivers to let them know that there is reduced speed coming ahead. And if we have to go through some process with the state to have that sign up, well, then let's go through that process, because I think that's an appropriate sign.
And I understand that it might not make a big
To
difference.
change anything on the state portion is going to be a major ordeal, it sounds like, from this Bill Lambert.
But we're not changing the speed limit, we're just putting up a sign saying that the speed limit is changing ahead.
Well, I'll give him a call.
Okay. I mean, it only makes sense.
yeah, okay, give him a call, Maria, see what he says.
That's all. I mean, not that we have any enforcers.
And then we'll get two signs, one for the Groton end and one for the state end.
Right.
Right?
Well, Groton's already 25, so.
So, but when the
They were
road,
coming
when
in.
the road comes in.
No, but what I'm saying is
Yeah.
there's already 25,
Right.
so if we post a 25-mile-an-hour sign right at the line, at the dam, right
Right.
there, I mean, that's not, I'm just concerned with the state portion being 35, that's still a good mile and a quarter down. That's the only concern. That,
But you need a
I mean-
sign coming in onto 118, onto River Road, right, from 118.
right, because there's a 35
And then we
mile an hour
yell.
sign there, so I don't know what the distance would be that you know, for
Yeah.
the reducing of the speed, like how far in advance you would have to, you know,
Is the road in front of your house state or?
state,
State.
all the way down to the bridge,
Oh, no kidding, okay.
yeah.
The uniform traffic manual should have that information in like the distance and.
They changed a lot, so.
Yeah.
If Maria has the contact, she can just ask, that's all. It's just, not that anybody's gonna be mean, you know, gonna be sitting there with a radar gun either, but who knows? You know, it's just, I don't know if we should err on the side of caution and make sure that that is, so no one can use that against us, that we didn't forewarn someone
Right,
if they get into a situation that it wasn't reduced.
that's what I'm
That's
thinking of too, yeah.
Well, at this point, should we move ahead and try and get two signs anyhow, that
Yeah.
say 25 miles an hour?
Yeah,
Okay, are we done with that then? River Road speed limit?
Sounds like it.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about the abatement that we have. I'll refer to it as the Harvey abatement. read it, Steve? You read the abatement? Maria, you read the abatement?
I have,
Okay. So there's, they're asking for three things on this abatement. So can we take these one at a time? The three things and vote on them one at a time?
sure,
Okay.
Okay?
I mean, that's fine with me.
Okay. Okay, so they say, first we are seeking an abatement for our June 2015 tax bill. We have been overtaxed due to town error and expected overpayments to be reimbursed. You can't request an abatement on the 2015 tax bill until the tax year is over. They haven't actually paid their 2015 tax bill yet. So they can't ask for an abatement until the year is over. So they'll have from January 1st to, I believe March 1st to file for an abatement for their 2015 tax bill. So I'll make a motion that we deny their application for the abatement for the 2015 tax bill. Is there a second on that?
Yeah, maybe can we amend that to, deny due to, submitted at, the appropriate time, or?
Sure.
We're not denying it on the facts of the abatement, we're denying it because the, submission time is incorrect.
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, we can do that. So we'll amend that motion to read that we're denying the 2015 tax year abatement because the time, we haven't reached the time yet for filing that abatement. Is that okay?
That sounds good to me, and of course, I think I need to abstain from all these votes, but I'd like to be part of the discussion of them.
Okay.
All right, I'll second that.
Okay. All right, any more discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Maria, right? Okay, the second part is that they are appealing to the select board for an abatement for the December 2014 tax bill for good cause shown. We understand that the standard abatement process does not allow us to appeal a tax bill from a prior cycle. However, the attached documentation is proof that we were addressing this issue in December 2014, as well as an abatement on their other lot that, while granted, have yet to be factored into our assessment. The town administrators were aware of the situation. No progress was made, nor were we directed to complete an abatement application for the current use error. This documentation demonstrates we were led to believe that the current use error was being corrected independent of any abatement process. To inform us that this is not the case after the opportunity to complete an abatement application is passed, would appear to be a deficient and misleading communication method at best. We therefore believe it is most reasonable and just that the select board grant a reimbursement of our December 2014 tax overpayments. And I think not right here, but somewhere else, that they did cite the RSA, which allows the selectmen for a good cause shown to go back and grant an abatement for a previous year. I don't know exactly what that statute number is off the top of my head, but.
I did copy it down, it's
Okay.
76:16,
Okay.
1A.
Okay. All right, so this is, this was an error on the town's part. The town should have informed the applicants that they had to fill out an abatement application. According to the New Hampshire State Constitution, municipalities have a duty to inform and help people fill out forms like this, direct them on what they should do. In other words, if somebody comes to us for an application from permit, we can't look at it and say, oh, not filled out right, no permit, come back when you get it filled out right. We have to assist them. So the town error here. I'll make a motion that we grant their application for an abatement for the 2014 tax rate.
I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Maria abstains?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and the third thing is dealing with the select board for reimbursement of the total overtax payments dating back to 2011. These overpayments were due solely to town error. Miscategorized a given acreage of land is not easily excusable. This is simply administration oversight. Select board no doubts no. To correctly and legally take land out of current use requires forms, payment of land use change tax, processing and recording the deed with the registry of deeds. It's not a change that the town administrator can effectuate without documentation, proper process, not to mention the landowner's consent. Residents of Dorchester have an assumption and expectation that our assessments are accurate and the town administers current use property. Furthermore, current use, other current use breakdowns are not indicated on town tax bills. Rather, this information is only available upon special request by tax cards. We trust the town to manage current use and administer taxes correctly, and have not thought it necessary to verify the legitimacy of each tax bill with personal research. With this said, we are aware that a total reimbursement of the overtax paid by us to the town since 2011 could amount to a significant sum of monies that the town may be challenged to reimburse at this time. We are therefore willing to accept the tax credit in the amount to us from 2011 through 14. Or it should be 13, I guess, since we already approved the 14 one. In lieu of a direct reimbursement, should the town find that to be a more economically feasible solution. What the applicant is saying is that basically is that this, that we should grant them an abatement for those years because it was a town error. The state statute, it says for good cause, I believe, doesn't it, Maria?
Yes.
Yeah, it says for good cause, it doesn't say exactly what good cause is. So, I personally don't think that town error is a good cause, because the vast majority of abatements that we give out because the town has made a mistake. That's why we give out abatements. So if we were to start giving out abatements because we made a mistake, we could be setting a dangerous precedent here. I mean, we might have to start giving out abatements for 10 years, past 10 years or something, because we've made a mistake. And,
The flip side of that, though, is you're saying that there's no consequence to the town for making a mistake. And the people are paying more than they should because the town made a mistake. I'm sorry, the town's responsible. And
the town makes mistakes.
well,
I would just like to add that, this isn't a simple mathematical error. It seems very odd to me that the land was, how could someone have the town just didn't follow. An administrative secretary took the land out of current use and then didn't make that official in any way with forms or registration. And if I'm mistaken in that, then maybe the landowner can speak to that. But although I won't vote, this seems a very egregious error to me.
Do you want to speak?
Can I speak?
Yeah, sure.
So I thought about this a lot. So I first bought the property in 2009, and there's all these issues associated with it. So it brings us to 2011, when I went through a lot of hoops to get the property we have now. So before that, there was no tax assessment for that 16 acres because it was part of a 90-acre piece. So the assessment was part of a bigger chunk of land. So the 2011 tax bill was the first tax bill for that 16 acres.
So
there's no reference point of where, so I get the tax bill, I pay it. Okay, years go on, you get your tax bills, it doesn't say the amount out of current use or in current use unless you have buildings. So unless I go to the town and say, can I see the tax breakout? Which you will see the current use rate managed, it'd be managed, unmanaged, other, the different types of current use ratings, which I'm familiar with as a forester. So, and that's how we got alerted to it, because the reassessment was like, 2 acres out of current use. We never took 2 acres out of current use. And the part I'm really kind of being a stickler for this is that current use is not up to the town to take out. It has to be, as you know, as a selectman know, there's a form involved that involves the landowner's signature as well as the select board signature. So it's not just something that you just type into the computer and it gets recorded at the registry of deeds. So it's something that's traceable. In this situation, I never signed anything to take 2 acres out. The Esterbrook estate, who I bought the land from, never took that 2 acres out. The select board never signed a current use application, to take land out of current use. So it's not like I'm saying, it's not like we're saying, I'm just taking this person because Beth came in the picture a little later. I'm not saying that, this building was assessed a little too high back then. No, this is money that the town was not privy to have in the first place. You see what I'm saying? The town is not privy to take land on current use on their own volition.
So I just want to be clear here. So when you bought the land in 2009, that acreage that you bought was subdivided out of the Easterbrook property?
And in a simple way, yes.
Okay.
It involved a boundary line agreement.
Right.
I won't bore you with this.
I know that there were some complications there. That when it was part of the Easterbrook property, it was current use?
Most of it is in current use, except for their home on Cheever Road.
Okay. And your assumption then, when you bought the property, was that it remained in current use?
It's not my assumption. It's a fact. It's
okay.
It's
right.
Subject. The deed is recorded. The plans are
right.
Subject to current use assessment. When the town, I get a little. Because the whole situation that went for the town, when the town finally accepted that I bought this property, the whole thing was in current use.
Right.
I took 0.52 acres out of current use on the other side of the so-called town road, which is actually a town road. Yeah. So there's only 0.52 acres in Beth and I's properties that's out of current use. And that's traceable. Land use change tax paid and everything. And if this, and I'm sort of, and this is the reason why towns need current use, people dedicate to them, because I'm afraid this happens more times than one.
Right.
And I mean, and that's why I really am asking the select board. I know this town doesn't have much money, but the town is not privy to have this money in the first place.
Right.
And I don't feel like that's right, not granting an abatement. not granting this because, oh, well, you know, if we gave someone else's error, well, there's still town error. I'm not saying the shed was over-assessed by $5,000 in 2011. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It takes an act of consensus between the landowner and the town to do anything with current use. I know as a forester, any change in current use, you have to have a documentation. There's no documentation, no record, and legally, I think it's illegal, and it really should be the Board of Land, the Board of Land Taxation and Adjustment. The current use board needs to know about things like this because this is not something to take casually. Because there's a law that goes along with current use. This isn't just tax law, this is current use law. So anyway, I digress.
Did you ever tell the town after you came into possession of this land that you wanted it to be in current use?
I have no choice. If you buy land that's in current use, it's in current use until you take it out. When I bought the property
You're
from
saying
Mr.
that
Brooks,
the current use goes with the land, but doesn't go with the owner?
it's in perpetuity until you take it out.
For the particular owner, right?
Yeah. No, it goes with the property. So if I were to sell the Esterbrookes, all the land was in current use except for their house. The piece they sold me was all in current use. That current use carries on over. And so we inherit a current use property until we decide, well, we're going to take this much acreage out. So it's clearly a town error, and I will be very upset if the town doesn't, because it's illegal, and it's so traceable, it's ridiculous. And at the time, our administrative assistant was inept from listening, from answering phone calls from me, and I think we know this. And I think it's time the town needs to clean stuff up, and this is cleaning stuff up. And our taxes still got a little screwy, but that's fine. You guys are dealing with it great. You know, and it's not a judgment on this select board. It's just an error that needs to be fixed. And it's taken a year just to fix just this error. And I feel like we need to clean stuff up. And so we're asking, the town can't afford that repayment of credit. I think that's completely legitimate. I think it's just and fair. Beth, do you have anything to say? I'm like the one talking. I'm the one getting heated.
Well, I'd like to just say two things. I think the landowners are being reasonable to offer to be given a credit rather than outright payment. And I think, again, and as Ryan has mentioned, what's particularly egregious here is that the town performed an action and did not legalize it in any way with paperwork, which would have fulfilled that requirement and also alerted the landowner to what was happening so that this wouldn't have gone on unnoticed for so long.
And Maria, if I can interject, I believe under normal conditions, unless under a court order, that only the landowner can actually take something in and out of current use, not the town. Unless there's a penalty if someone was found that they built a house on current use property, you would be ordered to take something out. So the town can't even make that action on their own. And then in this case, they did.
What do you think a legal opinion would give us?
I'm not sure.
I think in this case, the landowner has supplied the documentation we need to make a decision. And I don't think a legal opinion is going to do anything except delay the decision we need to make.
Yeah, I mean, the RSA says for good cause and doesn't define it. So, I think the decision tonight here is power to act at when it sees fit. And I think we have a particular burden because the action taken by the town was never legalized. So to me, that just gives weight to what is fair and just, how we would want to be treated.
Well, that's just it. When we bought our acreage on Bickford Woods Road in 2010, it was in current use, and it's still in current use. If the town arbitrarily, without a paper trail, took that acreage out of current use and taxed me out of current use, I'd be sitting right where Warren Ryan is now and making exactly the same complaint. And if the town has made this error consistently over a period of years, that's unforgivable, and there should be consequences for it. And I'm sorry that if they would be substantially financial, this was wrong done to our people.
And I think it is a shot across the bow that we select boards have to be vigilant. And, there's more and more evidence suggesting we can't rely on administrative assistance, which is unfortunate because we ourselves are just citizens, trying to serve, and we start out not knowing what the heck we're doing. But, to overtax somebody and then just say,
Them's the breaks, yeah.
I find that not acceptable.
No wonder people want to overthrow the
And
government.
I think given what the landowners are offering, that the credit just be extended to them, and Darlene, I don't know if that's a headache, right there, but I mean, if it can be done that way, in a way it minimizes the harm to the town.
I think that's what we might need a legal opinion about, whether we can do a credit or not. I don't know the legal ramifications of that, and there might be some.
Or maybe, Darlene, do you know? Is that?
Well, at the end of the year, when I have to do the MS 61, you really don't like to carry credits.
Right.
But I could certainly, I'm assuming that it can be done. It's just probably more work and more figuring whatever out. I'm not really sure. I'd have to call Shelley at DRA, and I'd certainly touch base with the tax association and get their input. But you can have credits. Carrying them over, I know, is an issue, but the implications are, I'm not really sure.
Well, thank you.
How do you think the town could have caught this error?
I think if the landowners had been charged a land use change tax, they would have gone, whoa. If it had appeared on their deed, they would have gone, whoa.
Would have
Karen
gone
Wall?
wrong?
Well, we would have said, whoa, this is not what we did.
Whoa.
Sherman, I have an answer for that. It's current use enforcement. Most towns request for landowners to update their current use configuration, and we don't do that in Dorchester. So there's a lot of, as I know, because I work in Dorchester on private land, as I know, the town, it's been a long time. So that's so this is what happens when there's no current use enforcement. So meaning, if there's a forest, or a lot of times a forest type changes, or there's a wetland you take out because et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way, unless the landowner comes every year and goes into their tax card. I mean, I guess one last thing, then I'm gonna shut up, I'm sick of talking. But one last thing I want to say, it really is to the authority, it really points to the authority. It's not, it's the authority, the authority was overstepped, and the authority is not given to the town for this, and that is illegal and unlawful and unjust, and that's what I'm pointing to. And so it's not, I hate even call it tax abatement, I hate to do it, because it's not a tax abatement. It's like, no, these are taxes that the town was never even privy to have, because it's in current use. And it's not even privy to have, not under a town, but a state law. And this is current use that was, the current use obligation that was put in by the Estabrooks, even before me. So that's what I'm really trying to point out. There's no authority the town had in doing it. I mean, I think we're offering a fair, I think it's fair and just, and obviously volunteer in this town, I'm not bankrupting the town, I'm not splitting hairs over frontage on a porch. Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
I make the motion that we grant the tax abatement as requested here, and furthermore, that we get a legal opinion whether we can give that abatement in the form of a credit or not.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Is there any more discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Opposed. You're abstaining, Moran?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passed.
So I have a question as a follow-up in terms of what's the legal term for it back?
I'll get a legal opinion on this, and we can review this at another time if you want, but I'm not going to approve the abatement at this time.
Well, I hope we get the legal opinion sooner rather than later and can review it sooner rather than later.
I'll do it right away.
I think we need to be mindful of Ryan's point that this is not an abatement. This is a taking of taxes that never should have been.
No, we're talking about an abatement here. It's an abatement application.
By the form is abatement
You
application.
don't have the floor anymore, right? So,
Thank you.
This is as much as we're going to discuss this tonight. I'll get a legal opinion on this, and we can open it up at another time. Okay? Okay, let's move on to the tax collector's warrant. We have our new tax rate. It's 1866, which is down 40-something cents from last year, so we're real happy about that. I should make a motion. I'll make a motion that we accept the, well, I don't know if we need a motion, huh? To sign the warrant. No, I don't think so. We have a health trust medical coverage rate. I'm not exactly sure what this is. Has anybody seen this?
Well, I haven't seen that. I know we had an email that said, it was going up, from, $940.23 in 2015 to, $968.41 in 2016. I haven't seen that particular paperwork, but if that's what that reflects, I know I had responded at the time, I was fine with that. Yeah, and that's per month, so it's going up $28.18 per month.
How about if we table this? I can actually read it and see what it is that they're looking for here. Is that okay?
Margaret, could you scan me a copy of that? And you know what, I can, if you don't have my email handy, I know you have a lot of things you have to, you're trying to digest, so maybe I'll give you a call Monday and see if you can scan that to me.
Okay, I should be able to do that.
That would be great, thank you.
Okay, so we'll table this till next time and find out what that's all about. Isn't the medical insurance, isn't that the one that we paid halfway into 2016 for already?
Well, that was the, I thought that was a liability. This is, Dean's retirement? No, it's not?
Medical.
$940 a month?
No,
Oh, that's
this is
health
medical.
insurance,
This
I guess.
is medical
$940
insurance.
to roughly $968 a month. That's the email we had, as I say, unless that paperwork doesn't reflect, we had gotten an email, at the end of October with that heads up. And so quick, just rough math, it's up like $360 a year.
Oh.
But,
Okay. All right, well, I'll look into this and get back to you with more details on this. Okay?
yeah.
Do we have a letter to withdraw money from the capital reserve fund? Yeah. To the trustees, withdrawal from the capital reserve funds, the highway equipment maintenance fund in the amount of $11,800. That was for the purchase of the pickup truck. I don't think we need a motion on this either. application for internet access to the Grafton County Registry of Deeds.
Darlene and Liz, that sounds like it's almost mandatory, or I mean, that's the way they're gonna do business from now on, or what?
I haven't read the document. The town has, the town administrator normally sets up an account with Grafton County. And you can go in and you can view and you can print stuff. The general public has to pay, and I don't know if you initially set up that account, if it costs money, I'm not sure how that works.
That's what I'm looking for, yeah, the money.
Well, I know that in the email we got, there was no money mentioned.
It wasn't, huh?
So I was wondering if it was, if that was free, the access, and then, you paid as you had particular things that you were registering or whatever. But in that email, no money was mentioned.
Okay, we have until Friday, November the 13th to put this in, and then we can take training on this also. We're going to have a webinar on it.
It's certainly something that the town would utilize frequently. It's not like you can enter anything through that portal. It's just for information, viewing, or printing off documents.
Okay, yeah, we have to have it. Well, I'll make a motion that we enter into this agreement. Is there a second? Okay. Any more discussion on it? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Alright.
Opposed? None. Okay, so make sure that we sign up for the webinars on this. Okay, that'll probably be you and Darlene, and Liz will probably want to take it also. Okay? Okay, do we have a land use change tabs to sign? Okay, Margaret and I met with representatives from Avatar on Wednesday, and
For signature, oh, okay, I'm sorry, is that on our list
what,
to be signed?
for Avatar?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, because then there is one more signature for the Hardy Way abatement on lot 3. There should be an abatement there for.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was just, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry, I thought that was just a duplicate from under new business. Yeah, let me have that abatement then.
That's what you guys signed this summer.
Yeah, okay. This was, no, I don't have to explain the background. This one, we all went through that on that day, but I'll make a motion that we approve this, the abatement on, I'll call it the Harvey abatement for map 3, lot 315-3. Is there a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay, any more discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
I'll stay.
Aye.
So Linda, a little background on CNP was that Linda sent an email to Phil, who was our representative for CNP, concerning how to figure out an abatement, figure out the amount of the abatement. And we got a reply back from Cheryl, the office manager, that Phil was no longer with the company, and that Jim Comerford was going to take over temporarily until they can hire somebody else. But they never actually answered the question that she wanted answered. And we wouldn't have even known that Phil wasn't there if we hadn't emailed Phil. They never came to us and told us that Phil was gone. And we got another email that she wanted to know whether the first payment on the cyclical evaluation of $5,500 was in a capital reserve fund, if it was encumbered, or whether it was in the budget or not. And I interpreted this to mean that it looks like they haven't done their work this year. They haven't inspected the 125 partials that they were supposed to. If they had done that, they would have just invoiced us and we would have paid them the $5,500. So it appears that they're looking to, have the more money encumbered so that they could actually do the work next year and still get paid for it. I'm just getting a feeling that that they're way behind and they're kind of out of sorts there at CNMP. And
Have we asked them if they've done that work for this year?
no, not yet. But if they have done the work, why haven't they invoiced us for it? So I'm pretty sure that they haven't done it. And also, I've always wondered since I got on the select board, as I probably told you, that since we were using the Avatar software, why didn't we use Avatar assessors to do our assessing for us? Seems like it would be a lot easier. So we talked to them, and they gave me some figures and stuff. They're a little bit more expensive, I think, than CM&P is. Their price for the 5-year reval is $41,000, where CM&P's is $38,500. So that's $2,500 more than CM&P would charge, but that's over 5 years, so that's really $500 a year, more. And, you know, at the time that we kind of struggled with our assessing with, because we had a new administrative assistant, and now we're changing the administrative assistants again. And it would be a lot easier for us if we had Avatar doing our assessing, because they could actually go into the software and make the changes for us. CM&P has to go through our administrative assistant in order to get into the software to make changes. So I think the timing is right for us to switch assessing firms. I'm recommending that we go with Avatar. So I'd like to make a motion that the town enter into a contract with Avatar to do, at this point, to do the town's general assessing, not to do any of our revaluation work at this time. So is there a second to that motion?
I just have a question. I'm for switching to Avatar, but we're looking at a 4-year contract for them. When we call CMP, if we find out that they have in fact done the work for this year, then I would imagine the total cost of the Avatar contract would go down.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
In that case, I second the motion.
okay. Any more discussion on it?
Well, I certainly think we should find out whether CMP did the work. I don't think we can assume that they didn't. So, even though they haven't invoiced us for it.
Okay, if they have done the work, that's our property, the work. I mean, we take it with us. It's not like we'll have to pay to have it done again. It's just that I would prefer that they didn't do it. If they haven't done it, I would prefer that they don't do it if we're going to Avatar, because then when it comes time for our reval, we're going to have 3/4 of the town is going to be revaled by Avatar, and 1/4 of the town will be revaled by a different assessing firm. You know, so there could be kind of little differences there between the assessing outfits. So I would rather have Avatar do the whole thing.
So, you're recommending that we go with Avatar for the reason basically of efficiency, that that's the software you use.
Yes. And since we're going with a new administrative assistant who might need help with the software, Avatar will be right there to make the entries for, not just train her to do it, but actually do the work for her. So the motion is made and seconded, right? Okay, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes, it's unanimous. So,
And Steve, I would just like to add that there are area towns, I think it's Wentworth, and is it at least Groton, Darlene? Would you know if there are any other area towns besides Wentworth, isn't it Groton, that seem very happy with Avatar?
Most most of the towns do, most of the state of New Hampshire is using Avatar.
Okay.
And I would just say that a lot of these issues that have come up, and we've come up with several this year, and it's because of lack of the assessing being done properly. And somebody knowing, and this has been an ongoing problem for a long time, as you know, because all these different things keep cropping up and they're not properly addressed. And I think it's because if we've been using CNP all these years, then evidently they're not stepping up and saying, pointing out what needs to be done or how you should do it, or educating whoever's in that position to make whatever needs to be done. Where Avatar, and they probably have different levels of service, what they provide, but in Wentworth, they basically do it all. I mean, if somebody puts in an abatement, they follow through, somebody goes out, talks to them, and they give you a written answer as to yay or nay, why, and the reasonings, and they figure what the abatement is. And it's just, it's very nice to have things done correctly, and for the selectmen, because the selectmen are the assessors, basically, it's you guys' responsibility. It would be comforting for you to know that there's actual software and assistance and a system in place that is doing it properly. And certainly, if they don't, you're going to go to them because you're paying them to do this service. So I think it's a win-win all around. That's my personal opinion. I say, yay!
Well, and Steve, you know, even just with the abatement that you guys just signed, CNP at that time said, oh, they don't do the calculations for us. So we ended up doing those calculations, and for myself, I think it would be good to have a trained professional doing them rather than us in the office with a calculator. So I don't know if that eases your mind at all.
Okay, good. So I'll make the calls necessary to get this in motion.
And just as long as we're touching on assessing, I would just like to suggest that when we get legal advice on a Harvey abatement, I'd like to suggest we scan their letter to Laura, because I think it's quite succinct in detailing the situation.
The letter that Ryan wrote?
Yes, it's signed by Ryan and Beth.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, just, I thought it explained it point by point.
It does, yes. Okay. I think that's all I've got.
Are we dealing with the church?
I'm gonna go into non-public to do that.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if, we still haven't heard from Regina on the annual report.
No, we haven't.
And I'll just keep bringing this up until the end of the year so we don't forget it, but, the Conservation Commission is at 5% on the land use change tax, which, it didn't get last year, because, I guess I dropped the ball. So I don't know how we locked that in, but, hopefully we'll get it to them this year.
Okay. Do you want to talk to Cheryl about that and see how she wants to do that?
Okay, yeah, sure.
You know, she could either do it when she, well, I don't know.
I mean,
It assumes, I assume she could do it when she gets the money, or she can reconcile it at the end of the year, if she wants, so. But ask, see what she wants to do, or the way that she wants to do it,
Right.
okay? Okay, I just have, well, I have one announcement to make that, and you probably have already guessed, because we've talked about it already, that Linda Dowling has left the employment of the town, and the town has hired Margaret LeMay to be the administrative assistant. And everybody knows Margaret, so I don't have to introduce her. And, but Margaret will be here at the selectmen's meetings taking the minutes now, so Beth won't be here anymore. We thank you, Beth, for stepping in and doing that for us for a while. Yeah, almost a year, right? Yeah. So, thanks.
I'd like to add something to that.
Sure.
Beth, thank you. That was, you've done wonderful work. Please. Margaret, I'm really looking forward to working with you, and I think you'll do a great job, and it's going to be a pleasure working with you. So what I have to say has no bearing on that whatsoever. I want the record to show that I think that the termination of Linda was appallingly handled by the select board, and I did not support it, and I just want that noted for the record.
Okay. That's all I've got. You got anything? No? Maria?
Nope, I'm good.
No? Okay, I'll open it up to the public then. Anybody got any comments or any opinions they want to share with us about anything? No? Okay. Well, we're going to go into a non-public session. The RSA is pending litigation against the town. Okay, so we'll take the roll call and then we'll take a recess while the hall closed.
Okay, Chair, Chairman Huff,
Yes.
Maria White,
Yes.
Steve Merkel,
Yep. Yes.
Okay, good. We'll take a recess then.